Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As always, happy hump day. My name is Casey Halpern, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Profit Exchange's intern, great man, Brendan Klingerman. Brendan, what's going on? How are we?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. Mets won back-to-back games. First time that's happened in a while, I feel like. So let's try and ride this high for a little bit. See when it comes crashing and burning back down to earth.
So I guess before we get into the grid itself, I didn't realize you were a Mets fan.
Yeah, unfortunately.
No, I mean, look, I'm a Yankees fan, so I understand the frustration this year. What do you want the Mets to do in the next few weeks?
In the next few weeks, I don't see a playoff push as realistic. So, I don't know. There are probably a lot more Mets fans that are more optimistic than I am, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting to see what we get back with some of the guys we have on super big contracts. So, I think rebuilding the farm system, getting lots of young pitching, I think that's been our problem in the past. So, try and shore that up, make sure the future looks bright.
I guess my next question then, who do you think's a value to sell?
A value?
I don't know if they're going to trade Verlander just because he just signed with them and basically
Right.
he's committed to them. So
Right. Well, he just signed and he's making $40-some million and also has a 3.37 ERA or something like that. So, yeah, I don't think he's too valuable. But if we eat up his contract, which obviously Steve Cohen probably wouldn't mind doing, we'll see what we can get back. I don't think we should give up both him and Scherzer, maybe one of them, because then it just further.
Well, I don't know who's taking Scherzer's contract just because he's due like $40 million next year and it's a player.
Right. I mean, it all depends on how much we eat up. So, we'll see. Also makes me pretty upset that Pete Alonso's only hitting like 207 or something like that. So
since he hurt his wrist.
Yeah, he's just had a terrible year. So,
he's been bad since he got hurt. I mean, it's the same thing with Rizzo. When they both got hurt in early June, they kind of fell off since.
Yeah,
I'm looking right now just because I'm curious what he's been hitting since he got injured.
Oh,
I mean, wrist injuries are really tough for hitters, especially a guy with that size, with that power.
For sure.
I mean, since he came back, he's hitting 136 and has a 50 on base percentage.
I mean, it's nice that he's hit 26 home runs or whatever it is, but I mean, he's not getting on base, and so it's not like he's a Gold Glove winner. So not too much value coming from my fellow Gator over there, but we'll see.
I actually sat next to us at the U.S. Open last year. Kind of a loser. Not a fan of him.
Well, I mean, most of the Mets are a lot of losers this year, so hopefully they'll be able to right the ship soon.
An odd ball. All right, but let's get into it. That's enough talking about these two crappy teams. Let me present my screen. Okay, an interesting one today, looks like.
Yeah, I always like when there's two stat ones. Makes it a little bit easier. But
that's for sure.
I also I think it gives you so many more chances for low points.
Yeah. We've got Giambi here.
Nice. I thought of Chris Davis with a K. Chris Davis.
The 247 machine.
Yeah.
How many years in a row did he hit 247? Let's say. I think it was
it's like 4 years in a row, I think, or something like that. 3 or 4 years.
It was 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 years in a row. Like, that's just insane.
Crazy.
That is so hard to do.
Yeah. There's so many options for this bottom right one.
I mean, it's just do we want to go for rarity or?
I went for rarity.
Oh, I mean that's.
Yeah, I mean there's so many options that I feel like any famous person could, I went with 2015 savior Daniel Murphy, who of course became an all-star after he went to the Nationals, but there's a lot of options there. Surprisingly, Harmon Killebrew was only like 3% for me on The
For All
Twins.
Star on the Twins, really? Interesting.
Blue Jays Twins was the last square I got, only because there's one that I thought of initially, but sat on it to try and think of something that was a little less common.
Yeah, I'm
But
gonna leave that one for last.
yeah,
This is my boy Pena, Carlos,
that's funny. I put him for the All-Star category.
Moneyball legend.
I
Really?
had
You put him on the Rays All Star category?
yeah,
That's so
2009
obscure. I
All-Star.
feel like.
One benefit to growing up in the Tampa Bay area is knowing all
Oh,
of the obscure Rays players from the early 2000s. So that got me all three of those.
so you've been to Tropicana Field, I presume.
Too many times to count.
Is it
Yeah,
really as big of a dump as everyone says?
it's definitely not a nice stadium for sure. I'll say that it's
Have you ever
it's a
been?
weird place to watch a game.
Have you ever been to Oakland?
No, but people say that's worse. So
Graham Kligerman, I assume
my God.
relation to you.
Yeah,
He had Giambi too. Smart man, Graham. And he said, "It's a hole. It's an a-hole." About the Trop.
yeah. It
Picture
sucks.
it. I mean, it looks disgusting.
Yeah, but I mean, they can't really fill it anyway. So I kind of understand why they don't want to put a bunch of money into a new stadium. So it's a weird situation.
Yeah, I mean,
But Rays A's, I got Ben Zobrist, who was
yeah.
definitely an elementary school favorite of mine.
World Series MVP. I bet on him to win the World Series MVP in 2016.
That's crazy. Rays Jays, I also one of my favorite players from the early 2000s. It was a 3%er or 1%. Sorry. I mean, I don't want to.
Greg Vaughn on the Blue Jays? No.
Who?
Greg Vaughn wasn't on the Blue Jays, I don't
I
think.
don't know.
No. Eric Hinsky was.
Nice. 1%. I had a very serviceable catcher, Dioner Navarro.
He was also on the Yankees.
Yeah. He got his way.
He came up with the Yankees, I'm pretty sure. I remember.
Oh, really?
Almost positive. I'm just looking right now. Yeah, he did. Came up with the Yankees, and he was traded for Javier Vasquez, who is absolutely. Oh no, he was traded for Randy Johnson. Excuse me, he was traded with Javi Vasquez for Randy Johnson. Twins Jays. Oof. I have to dig deep here.
I mean, there's a couple that stuck out to me right away, but I'm not sure. Like, I'm sure there's a bunch, but
Twins Jays.
It's a pitcher that recently traded, if that means anything. So that's the first one that stuck out to me.
Robbie Ray was on the Twins, was it?
No.
Oh,
he.
I mean, this is loser Josh Donaldson.
Yeah, that's who I put. I mean, the first guy I thought of was Jose Barrios.
Yeah.
Who carried my fantasy team to a victory in 2018. So always thankful for that.
He hasn't really channeled that since.
No, unfortunately not.
So the rarity score, how is this calculated?
It's adding up all of your percentages, and if you get any wrong, it adds 100. I think that's how it works, at least.
I mean, I feel like 129 is decent. It's obviously not as low as it could get. I'm still shocked A-Rob was only 3%.
Yeah, when you have those two stats, I feel like there's so like any all-star probably had 100 RBIs that season. So there's so many possible. Like I also like, since Baseball Reference has taken over, they show you all of the possible answers.
Where?
And so if you click on Show Summary and scroll down, it'll show you. You missed it, but so that shows you all like the most popular answers, and then if you click on it, it'll take you to Baseball Reference, and it'll show you all the possible answers. Like if you look, like some of them only have like 60, 70. Blue Jays only has 25 for 100 RBIs, but there's 482. So there's bound to be some super famous guys that no one thinks of. Or I'm pretty sure a few days ago when it was Hall of Famer who hit 300 for a season or something like that. Like most Hall of Famers have probably hit 300 for a season. So yeah.
All right. Well, we got 9-9. I presume you did the same. You got 9-9.
Yep,
it was pretty easy.
absolutely.
I mean, it's
Yes.
definitely easier for me when there's AL teams being a Yankees fan. So
Makes
I'm sure the
sense.
same is for you for NL as the Mets.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll do this again soon. For
Sounds
all you
good.
listeners out there watching, if you're betting on the Open Championship, go do it on Profit Exchange. You'll get the best odds for some of the golfers in the world, including last year's winner, Cam Smith, at 25-1. You could bet yes, you could bet no, you could bet matchups, outrights. We've got 17 markets open, so go and hit them. Brendan, great to see you, and we'll chat.
Well. Casey, who you got in the Open this weekend?
I like Tommy Fleetwood.
Interesting.
How about you?
I think Dustin Johnson's a pretty sneaky pick. He was, last time I checked, it was like 30-1.
Yeah.
So he's always reliable. So we'll see.
We'll see. It should be a good finish for the last year's major. All right, we'll do this again soon. Later.
Sounds good. See ya.